Today, we are covering Module 2 on setting up a research project in Atlas.ti. And basically, we are going to cover 5 things. Number 1 is the various types of research instruments that a qualitative researcher can use. These are the major ones. And after that, we are going to cover the various types of data which will be generated by the instruments. If you take a look at these instruments, you will find that some of these are actually your own instruments. Okay, you'll be working on interviews, you'll be implementing observation, structure to the participants, you'll be doing archival research. Okay, if you're at the beginning of your research, you'll be doing mostly archival research because you'll be focusing on the literature as well. Okay, and some documents that you can refer to for the purpose of your research. Some will carry out survey. Okay, and the open-ended section of that survey will be analyzable in Atlas.ti, and social media analysis. For example, we are working on Facebook analysis, Twitter analysis, Instagram analysis for that purpose. Some will get to analyze on journals or diaries. These are the various types of instruments that we can use. From carrying out of these, we will actually be looking into the various types of data that could be generated, and this data will be added to the Atlas.ti project so that we can download and install. I believe majority of us, if not all, I hope everybody have already installed. Then we are going to create a project in Atlas.ti. We are also going to add the documents. Each of these sections have been dissected into smaller items and produced in our PowerPoint presentation. Let me just go directly here. Module number 2 on setting up a research project in Atlas.ti. As has been mentioned, we will be referring to the 5 steps. Alright, now, as has been mentioned, these are the common various types of instruments that can be engaged by a qualitative researcher, one of which would be archival research. You take a look into the archives, you take a look into the existing documents in your subject matter. If your background is law, for example, my background is law, I take a look at the statutes, I take a look at the cases, I take a look at the existing documents relevant to my study. If your research is, finance, accounting, you might be looking into financial statements, you might be looking into company statements, prospectus, for example. These are the archives, the documents that are readily is available for the purpose of our research, for the purpose of our analysis. Now, a very common type of instrument magically used widely is interviews. And of course, interviews, there could be various types as well. They can be with one person or with many. The example that you can see in the image here. One-to-one interview is question and answer, or one-to-many. One person could be talking to many people at the same time. Now, very common type as well is the face-to-face interviews. Or at the moment, many of us are resorting to the online way of conducting research. And if not audio conference or video conference, we might be doing call interviews. That is also achievable and doable. Now, the third quite famous option for instruments would be observation. In that case, the person, rather than go and read and ask questions, they will actually do a lot more standing or sitting and looking and observing. That's the whole idea behind observation, because you want to observe. But of course, there are observation protocols. It's not like you just sit there and see what happened without any guidelines or protocols. And it will be structured to the participants because we're looking into the participants' behavior, participants' way of doing things. And quite famous is also survey. survey in the form of open-ended questions, asking questions, and the answers coming back are open-ended. Now, when that open-ended questions happen, meaning you have that open-ended questions, you can analyze them qualitatively for the purpose of our qualitative research. Social media analysis, as has been mentioned, famous nowadays, people are doing on Facebook, people are working on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and journal or diary. Even though it's not named journal or diary, we get our students to do reflection. We get it's either to create a new journal or a new diary, or we can download the journal or download the diary from online, for example. And we can also have hard copy arts and artifacts, for example. Now, these images here are added for our information and example. Therefore, we will end up with various types of data. They could be textual, images, audio, or video. Example textual will be DOC, DOCX, TXT, PDF, RTF, for example. And we will also have images, for example, JPEG, PNG, PNG. Now, is it compulsory that when we do interviews, we have audio? Not necessarily. Very common people will record, very common that recording will be transcribed, for example. But some situations we will not have that recording because the interview participant does not. So, likewise, we could also have images, audio, as well as video. Why do I put this example, various types of data into our sharing tonight? Because I want to expose to everybody that we can have these various types of data in our Atlas.ti project. As has been mentioned in our module number 1, Atlas.ti will be useful if you have qualitative data and you want to approach that qualitative data qualitatively. In other words, you want to get that meaningful information from the data, and our way of doing that is by way of qualitative analysis. Now we are going to take a look at the downloading installation. Coming back, everybody have been to www.atlas.ti.com, which is our official website. So I wish to draw your attention to the free trial version, because a majority of us are using free trial version. If you have not subscribed to the full version of Atlas.ti, it is fine. It is fine because using the trial version for our project is perfectly fine. But I wish to mention here that the limitations to the trial version is mentioned on this particular page. It is not possible to save projects that exceed a certain size, although you can open and use projects of any size. Meaning you can put unlimited number of documents, unlimited number of quotations, unlimited items inside there, but you cannot save it. If it's more than these limitations, the maximum allowable sizes are, number 1, 10 primary documents, meaning 10 documents only. One document can be unlimited size, but the limit is 10 documents. 100 quotations. In Atlas.ti, quotations is something that we highlight. The moment you highlight, it becomes a quotation, or it's also called as data segments, the segment of that particular data. It could be highlighting on a textual, highlighting on an image, highlighting a certain section of the audio or the video. 50 codes, or 50 labels, 50 taggings, 50 labels that you want to put beside that quotation. You highlight the quotation, you give a code name. Or sometimes that quotation can be without a code, meaning you just highlight, or you can create a code first without having any quotation, is also fine. It could be linked quotation or highlighted quotation, likewise codes. As well as memos, only 30 memos, we're going to cover that. 10 network views, meaning 10 mapping of ideas, and also the final one would be auto backup is disabled. What is auto backup? Is auto recovery safe? When we're using Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel, for example, when we're typing, suddenly there's a green bar at the bottom of the application that you cannot do anything. You cannot click, you cannot type, you cannot highlight, for example. Yes, I think Dr. Swahini mentioned something here. Even we cannot save. Can we print out before quitting? Yes, yes, you can print out before quitting. Okay, for example, you do the analysis, highlight, do the networks and mappings, and then print out. Okay, and when you close the computer, it cannot save anymore. Okay, so or you can use a computer that does not close at all. Okay, meaning that's your computer. Tomorrow you start working on it again without shutting down. But eventually that is also a risk to the computer. You might want to consider about that. But I'm saying it's doable. Okay, it's something that the question is doable. Can we analyze straight away from social media, for example, Facebook? You will need to convert that Facebook page into PDF first, okay, and then that PDF put into Atlas.ti. If you want to ask any other questions, you can just type in. If I realize questions are coming in, I can straight away answer it there and then. Okay. Okay. Now, if you're using the trial version, okay, auto backup is disabled, meaning you do not have that auto recovery save. If you're using the full version, that auto recovery save is there, meaning something happened to the computer, shut down, blackout, and battery died, for example. Full version will be saved automatically during intervals. Okay, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, for example. But for trial version, there is no auto recovery. So if you're using the trial version, please remember to occasionally click on the save icon. If you click on the save icon, then this problem will be settled already. Now, another question is if you're using options of Mac or Windows. Oops, it's not supposed to add Windows, it's supposed to add or Windows. Because today I received a question because they cannot install Atlas.ti .dmg into Windows computer. So you need to take a look at if it's Windows, then you download the Windows installer. If you're using the Mac, then download the Mac installer. And trial version limitations is something that I want to share here. And paid version, paid version users, please remember to keep the license key because when you're using the paid version, it will be sent by Atlas.ti official reseller. It's calling, not reseller, it's processor. Atlas.ti processor is called Clever Bridge. Okay? When you request the trial version, the Clever Bridge system will issue out an email for you to download the trial version. Okay? If you get the paid version, also Clever Bridge will be emailing you the license key. Okay? That license key can be used as a to activate your Atlas.ti project. Okay? Very often, I get the question that laptop is stolen. Not very often stolen, but very often break down, they reformat, for example. They can reinstall. Yeah, reinstallation of Atlas.ti is possible. And if you're using the full version, you just remember to keep the license key so that later on you can open the email from Cleverbridge, take that license key to activate our Atlas.ti project, Atlas.ti application on our computer. That is downloading and installation. I hope nobody has any problem in downloading and installing Atlas.ti onto your computers. If you're using the trial version, then each time you want to start, it will ask you for the license key. No problem. You can just click on the proceed with trial at the bottom right hand side of your Atlas.ti computer, Atlas.ti application. Okay. Now, creating a project. Okay, step 3 is first and foremost, once we installed Atlas.ti on our computers, it will look something like this. If it's Atlas.ti Mac, it will show something like this, where you will have two options. Here it is mentioned, create a project or import existing project. Two options, create a project or import existing project, like this. If you're using the Mac version of Atlas.ti, it will be shown something like this. I'll just show it here. Okay. This is the trial version of, this is the interface of Atlas.ti Mac, whereby this is the interface of, let me just do this. Interface of Atlas.ti Windows. Many of you, if you just recently installed Atlas.ti, you will not have anything bottom here. You will also not have anything on your left hand side here. No worries, because if you're using Atlas.ti extensively, then the projects, the recently closed projects will be listed on your left hand side, and your list of projects will be listed here in alphabetical order. No problem again, but what is most important is the two icons over here. Okay? If you're starting a new project, you can just click on create a new project. Okay? Here is import project. Okay? Import project means you have a backup file from your other Atlas.ti computer, or you have a backup file from iPad or Android, or you have a backup file from Atlas.ti Cloud. Okay? That backup file, you can import it into our desktop version of Atlas.ti. Okay? Here's a question. Can we use the license key for two devices? Very good question, Rosatika. You're asking this because one license key of Atlas.ti, it is meant for two computers. It is meant for two devices. If you're using a PC and a laptop, yes, we can. Okay? Can we import backup files from Atlas.ti 7 to Atlas.ti 8? Definitely, Dr. Guzman. You can do that. So from Atlas.ti 7, we need to create a backup file. Okay, and then import it into Atlas.ti project. Maybe I will do a screenshot later on to show you how to do that in Atlas.ti 7 so that you can get that project from Atlas.ti 7. Okay. Alright. Now let's create a new project. If you're on your computer, it seems like I lost my project after resetting my laptop. Okay. Can I be retrieved back? Can it be retrieved back? If you reset your laptop, meaning you reformat your laptop without making a backup, you cannot retrieve it back. Okay? If you want to send for resetting or reformat, you need to create a backup first. That's why I have created the one option over here. Okay? I will teach you how to create backups. Okay? Create backup first before sending it for reformatting. Or I'm also telling here, create a backup as often as possible, maybe during intervals of every week if you're using Atlas.ti every day. If you're using Atlas.ti every month, okay, then maybe one time a month you can do the backup. How to do the backup, I will share later on, but it is advisable, can you please create a folder on your drive, okay, online cloud, okay, for example, and backups so that you can put your backups into there, for example. In fact, question by Izati is something is very common to be asked to me as well. A lot of people, they don't create backups, okay? And when something happens to the computer, there goes the project. In fact, it's not only Atlas.ti, it is other applications as well, Microsoft Word, Microsoft other than that, okay, if the main project, the main file, if the main application is no longer in the computer, there is going to be a little bit of problem for us, okay, because it will wipe out. Okay? Formatting will wipe out everything in the computer if you don't create backups. Okay? For example, I will just, I would like to call everyone, can we please create a new project on our computer? If you have already worked on any project before, you can just click on it, click to open that project over here, okay, or bottom here. You can open an existing project if you have already started with, but I'm going to create a new project for the benefit of our friends who have just started using Atlas.ti today. Okay? So I will now create a new project. Can you please do that for your own projects as well? Okay? Create a new project and put any name that you want it to be. I want it to be, I'm going to use a sample data that I often use, which is sports, my sports project. There was one time last week when I was delivering a lecture, and then suddenly my cat come walking past me. So today I locked the door just in case the cat will do the same stunt. If it pulls the same stunt, then everybody will take a look at my cat. Likewise, if you're using the Mac version, in order to create a new project, you simply click on create a new Atlas.ti project over here. Yep. It's creating the project. The interface is slightly different for Windows and Mac, which is not a problem actually. It depends on our preference as well. And if you're very familiar with MacBook, then it will not be a problem for you to be minimalist. Okay, minimalist means less colors, less visualizations, but all features are the same. Okay, almost features are the same. Some features only available in Mac, some features only available in Windows, for example, but it should be sufficient, more than enough for the purpose of our analysis. Okay, if you're using MacBook, then your items will be shown here. Your items will be shown here. Okay, for example, a lot of information that you can choose. Likewise for Windows here. Here we don't have the menu as in Mac, but we have any other Microsoft applications. We're going to have different menu for the tabs. Okay, we have Home, Search Project, Analyze, Import, Export, Tools and Support. Because there are so many things inside here. Okay, if you when missing, okay, you're not sure which one to turn to, can you please go to Home, because Home has the most frequently used features of Atlas.ti for your purpose. Okay? Now, on your left hand side here, we have the Explorer bar, both equal Mac as well as Windows. Okay? You will see the Explorer bar containing all the objects available in Atlas.ti. Now, the objects here, like example, documents, quotes, memos, networks, groups, bottom here, the frequency or the size of that object is 0. Okay, you know why 0? Because we have not added anything yet. The moment we add, the moment we start coding, the moment we start highlighting, then the numbers will add up. It will be more and more. When you delete a document, it will be less. Yeah, for example. Now, this is a very magical triangle that you see on your screen. Yeah, it's on your left hand side here. This triangle is a feature to expand or to hide. Okay, hide. Click on this, so it will hide the objects. Click on again on it, it will show the objects. Now, because the object is 000, it means we have not added anything yet, so there is no triangle over here. The moment we have one document, you will see a triangle, so you can hide or show that particular object. Likewise, quotes, you can hide or show that particular object. Okay, and it's very similar to the Mac version, where you will see this triangle over here in order to hide or to show. Hide or to show. Okay? For example, now this is when you create a project or you import a project, but it is also significant for you to see if something happens to the original project in this particular computer, for example. Na'udzubillah, but if it happens, for example, it catches fire. Na'udzubillah, somebody comes and steal it. Na'udzubillah again. It dies because of virus. Na'udzubillah. But if that happens, then we can be rest assured because we already have the backup file. How to create the backup? Let me just go very quickly here, where it shows create a project. Create a project, import existing project, or create backups. Okay, now I'm going to teach you how to create backups. Creating backups is always export. Okay, export. For example, in Windows, you're going to click on File, Export. Okay, File, Export. So the moment you click on Export, it will actually create a zip file. Okay? When we talk about project bundle, the name of the backup file in Atlas.ti is bundle. The backup file is uses the same technology as zip and unzip. Zip means there are multiple items, you cram them, compress them into one item only, okay, in a zip file. That item is easily transportable. You can email it, you can with the cloud drive, for example, okay, because it's only one, so it's easy for us to transfer or transport it to another device or a pen drive or a cloud. Okay. Likewise, a bundle is a compilation of your project data plus all the media, plus all the highlightings, quotations, for example. Okay, so in order to create project bundle, you simply click on project bundle. And the system will actually ask you where you want to save it. Okay, definitely it's very common, but the project type, yeah, or the project file type is Atlas.ti project, ATLPROJ, ATLPROJ, and the name of the file is by default. You can change it if you don't like it. The name of the project, user, and the date, which is very useful, I think. Okay, we have the Atlas.ti project bundle. You can put it on your Dropbox, for example, Dropbox, okay, for example, and maybe you can create one new folder only for backups, okay, backups, and that backup you can trace it by way of the dates.
Ya, besok pergi program.
Okay. Likewise, in Atlas.ti again, the keyword is export. You just go to project, export project.
Alias
Project,
sekolah.
export project.
Oh, alias tak. Alias sehari.
Nanti ayat lampu.
Hah?
Lampu.
Nah.
Project, export project. We can just go to export project over here. Here you will need to put the name and the date on your own. Okay, if you want it, again, the file format is at brush. Oh, it doesn't show here. Once it is exported, it will be at brush. Okay. I hope everybody is still okay. Can you follow me still? Can you type in the chat box that you're still following me? Amy is asking. No. Like, okay, thank you everyone because you're still here and following me. If you have any problems, then you can just type here. There is one interesting question from Amy. Our friend is asking, saya ingin tanya pandangan doktor, untuk create project, sebaiknya kita gabungkan semua RQ thesis kita dalam satu projek yang sama atau asingkan satu RQ satu projek? Satu RQ satu projek. Our friend Amy is asking, if we have 3 research questions, do we create 3 different Atlas.ti projects or we create one Atlas.ti project? Okay, I am prone to say, of course, there is no specific answer for this particular question. But what I would recommend is, and I am prone to say, that we should create one research project, one Atlas.ti project. Okay? If you're doing a lot of research questions in that particular one research project, you can create one Atlas.ti project for that particular many research questions. Why? Okay, here's my justification. The justification goes that you are actually referring, possibly you're referring to the same documents, yeah, for the many research questions. Okay? One particular document, for example, interview with Mr. A. Mr. A sometimes shares research question 1, sometimes answers research question 2, sometimes answers research question 3. If you create different file projects, so Mr. A's interview transcript will be in these 3 projects, okay, which is additional work for you. If possible, let's create one project, one Atlas project for one research project, okay, regardless how many research questions that you may have. Okay, next, Alhamdulillah, let's go to the next one. Then we want to add documents. Okay, there are so many things that I want to share on this adding documents, when in fact the final stage is adding document. Okay, I think it is in the final stage is the adding documents. What is it? Okay, here is this one. Yeah, we have gone through various types of instruments, various types of data. We have downloaded and installed. We also created a project. Now, the one item that I wish to share is to add the documents. Of course, there are so many things inside here, but the final thing that I want to share is adding documents. But because we want to set up the project for the purpose of analysis. Why? Because in module number 3, we are going to cover to start working on the data already. Okay, here we are creating a project, adding documents and setting it, getting it ready for the purpose of analysis. Having said that, there are various things that I wish to share with you regarding adding documents. Very common type is people will add native documents. What does native document mean? Native document means the documents that are in its original format. Okay? For example, it's in PDF. Okay? On your desktop, you can just put it into Atlas.ti. Or it is how shall I say this? DOC, PNG, MP3, MP4. Okay, you can just add on to the project. Okay? It's called native document. Native means in its original format. Okay? Files, folders, because if you see bottom here, you can also import documents from other formats than native document. For example, Twitter, Evernote, survey, as well as references. Okay? I add on here a module of references because very often when you're doing the analysis, we will also have our data in the form of literature, and that literature you have it from bibliographic reference managers such as Mendeley or EndNote. Okay, that's why I've also shared here reference manager import in Mendeley or in Atlas. We are going to practice that today. Okay, first and foremost, let's talk about files. Okay, do you have a specific folder on your computer that we can use as sample data? And in that folder, there are various files. Okay, that's what I mean by native documents in a folder on your computer and the file is in that folder. Or you can have specifically the files on your desktop. You have already itemized it. Can I give you 1 minute for you to get ready a folder on your desktop, okay, and put in your native documents, okay? Put in your PDF, DOC, DOCX, TST, RTF, JPG, PNG, MP3, MP4, for example, because we want to practice them. But you don't have to be so ambitious to put all formats inside. If you want, that's fine. But I want you to put the file format that will be relevant for your purpose. Okay? If you only have interviews, then you get all the DOC. If you want to test it on a PDF, then you can just put your PDF as well. There was one question about Facebook just now. So if you are on Facebook and you want to analyze that Facebook comment, for example, you need to save that page as a PDF first. Okay. Once it's saved as PDF, then you can put it as a PDF into Atlas.ti project. Let me just show you how to do that. I'm just going to go very quickly to my Facebook. Okay. Maybe I'm going to go to Atlas.ti Researchers Group. If you're not a member yet, then you can just come to join our Atlas.ti Researchers Group. Okay. there is one specific item that I want. Okay? For example, here is the connection is taking some time today. Let me just set the best it can do. Then I'm gonna just maybe this is not a very good example that I can use. Okay, I will just go here lah. Yeah. This is a post on my own wall. Okay. A post on my own wall that talks about okay, you do know that you can retrieve that particular post by clicking on the date, right? You can click on the date and only that post will appear. Yeah, so for this particular post, yeah, I want to click and save it as a, because I'm using a MacBook, yeah, I will normally click on print because I have installed a virtual virtual printer for save as PDF over here. Yeah, and then this will come up. In the event you want to print out only, yeah, only the posting, yeah, normally what I will do is I will just select only the posting here and select what is it I want to print out. Maybe I want to expand this as well. Select, and then you don't want all this on the right hand side here. You just select the parts that you want, right click, print. Again, when you print, and I will save it as a PDF. Yeah, only that section will come up. It will not bring in the items that you don't want. I select the parts that I want. Yeah, that part will be right click in order to print it. Yeah, for example here, once it's in PDF format, I can straight away use it. Yeah, I'm gonna save it on my desktop, for example, so that it will be on my desktop. I'm gonna go to, it starts with the number 5. Okay, here. This, it is my, it's coming from my Facebook post. Okay, only the parts that I want. Of course, it's not in the format of of Facebook because I have removed on the right hand side of my page. Okay, so this one I can put into ATCI for the purpose of analysis. Okay, now files, folders. I give you 1 minute to get ready with your documents. Maybe we can put 2 documents for our practice, and the homework, yeah, before our next session, you will add on the remaining documents. Yeah, let's practice that. Maybe 2 documents at the moment. Identify 2 documents that you want because we want to add that to the ATCI project. Okay? Now, first, for ATCI Windows, you will come to Home tab. You're going to go to Add Documents, Add File. Okay? Home tab, Add Documents, Add Files. Of course, there are other ways in which you can just drag and drop, for example. Okay? Here, Add Files. Choose the documents that you want. I'm going to go to my desktop and choose sample data. I'm going to okay. I'm going to choose 1 document. In fact, I'm going to choose 3. Okay. I have a video. I have a DOCX. I have also a PDF. Once you click on Add, so we'll click on Open, and it will be added to the project. You see the system is now adding it to the project. Okay. It's very easy. While it's converting in Windows, I'm going to bring you to Mac. Now, from MacBook, every time you want to add something, you can just click on the plus sign on your far left-hand side. Okay, plus sign, so you will have the options. Likewise, Windows as well, you can just go to Home, Add Documents. Okay, so for Mac, you can just go to the plus sign on top here, click on Import Documents, and you can choose the documents that you want. Likewise, I'm going to select the same documents. Click on Open, and Atlas.ti is now importing my documents into the project. Now, how many among you have already completed this stage, adding the documents to the project? Are you okay? You managed to do that? Do you mind showing me? Do you mind showing me how I add a transcript? So if you have a transcript in Microsoft Word document, it's going to be a very similar process. If you're using MacBook, you can just click on the plus sign here to import documents. Yeah? If you're using Windows, you can just go to Home, Add Documents, Add File. Home, Add Documents, Add Files. Dr. Suhaini managed to do this? Dr. Suhaini, are you using Windows version of Atlas.ti? Oh, Mac version. So very easy. For Mac version, you can just come to plus sign, choose import documents. Okay? Plus sign, import document. Okay, Alhamdulillah. Actually, it's night time, and I'm glad to see many people who are still online and are still following through. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Right. Okay, good. Now, you remember when I talked about the triangle just now? This is a triangle. You can click on it, and you will see a lot of documents here. Yes, I have my video. I have my PDF. Okay, this is DOC, and then I also have my PDF. Okay, you can open it by double-clicking on the documents. Okay, in order to view this document, you just simply need to click on the triangle. Okay, double-click, and it will open before you. Double again. This is the DOC document. Double-click again, and this is the PDF document. For those who are wondering, this is the interface for Atlas.ti Mac, which is similar. The part that we want to do the analysis later on is very similar. Okay, it is here. The data will be shown before you, and there will be a small section on your right hand side, which is the margin area. If you take a look at the Windows version as well, click on the triangle in order to get the list of documents. Double click on it. Yeah, it will open the data before us. Yeah. When you open the data, I'm just going to make it bigger so that I can see the video better. Yeah. It's not coming. Yeah. I can also play the video from inside here.
26 years of age is Dmitriev.
Yeah. Likewise, I can open a DOC document. If you're using a video, okay, this is a DOC document and this is a PDF document. Yes, it's very similar documents I'm using for my project. So when you see on top here, each of the documents, you can click on it, yeah, in order to move from one document to another. Yeah. Many tabs can be opened at the same time. So you can just click on it in order to view your document. Likewise here, here is the PDF document, here is the DOC document, and here is the video document. Now you will also see on the left hand side here for Windows, equal Windows as well as Mac. Okay, Windows as well as Mac, you'll be able to see here.
Television doesn't really show just how steep this track.
Okay. The margin area is where all your codings will appear. Okay. This. The codings will appear here, likewise here. So if you're familiar with traditional documents, I'm just going to take my science school book here. This is the document. Where do we normally highlight? We highlight here. We will add the labels over here, the taggings and the codings. That is very similar to our Atlas.ti interface because Atlas.ti tries to maintain the pen and paper concept. If you're familiar with highlighting traditionally, you should be okay in using Atlas.ti because that's the requirement. Right? We have added the documents. We have also added, just go to my slide. This is slide, okay? Native files, okay? Native files. Or if you have a specific folder, okay? In that folder containing all your documents, so you don't have to select one by one files. Okay, one folder containing 5 documents. You want to add the 5 documents to the projects, so you can just click on Home, Add Documents, Add Folder Contents. Okay, Add Folder Contents. But I normally use Add Files because I want to be selective. I want which documents to go in first. Okay, so after that, I can just add on the list of documents that I want to add. Here in MacBook, we don't have the folder option. Okay, we have the import documents only, which is fine. I think it is also my preference to choose import documents and documents. The other thing that I want to talk about is linked. Okay, linked. Linked means if the folder of the size of the video or audio is too huge, you try to add it to Atlas.ti project, but the system keeps telling you that the file is too big, for example, then you can just click on linked. Okay, linked. How to do that is by clicking in Mac, you can just go to plus sign, import linked multimedia document. A linked multimedia document. Now, if you do that, if you do import linked multimedia document, then that multimedia file will not be added to the Atlas.ti project. But you can watch and code accordingly inside of the Atlas.ti project. Okay? But be cautious, please do not move the original location of the multimedia file so that it will always be a link, okay, between the Atlas.ti project file together with the outside. So normally I will advise my participants rather than using linked multimedia file, okay, if the size is too big, then chunk it into smaller chunks, okay, cut it into smaller chunks so that it will come into the Atlas.ti project. You don't have to concern about moving the outside file now. Once you add it to the project, you can just delete the original file, okay, because it's already in the Atlas.ti project. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is grouping into groups. Okay? Now, the documents that we have added to the Atlas.ti project, they can be 5, 10, 20, hundreds. Okay? The moment you have many, then you might lose count. In the sense that what is the characteristic of this document from another. So what do I mean by group into groups? It's like playing group into groups, right? Group into groups. You can put them, categorize them into groups. In Atlas.ti, we call it as document group. If you have a document, you can put document groups. What is it? It is shared characteristics for our documents. A shared characteristic means any document that is similar to one another, you can group it accordingly. Why? Okay, why? Because we can do within case analysis or cross case analysis. Within case means all literature in 2009, all literature in 2010, all literature in 2011. You can analyze them within that group. The other way is cross case. Okay, cross case is regardless which year that paper is published, we can actually do a cross case because they are each containing other shared characteristics. Okay? How we can access that from the document manager. But for this purpose, I have prepared here example shared characteristic. We have 3 articles, the same 3 articles that we have added to the project just now. What could be the similarity or the shared characteristic between or among these articles? Yeah? It could be that paper is reporting qualitative process as opposed to quantitative process. So you can group the document to Article 1 and Article 2 into qualitative methodology group, Article 3 into quantitative methodology group. Now the first shared characteristic, very famous, that people are using is methodology. Number 2, what theory that they are using. Okay? Probably Article 1 uses theory A, Article 2 and 3 uses theory B. Okay? Likewise, in year of publication, okay? They published in 2019, Article 1, published in 2020, Article 2 and 3. And what about data collection sites? Okay, data collection sites in Singapore, Article 1 and 2, data collection in Malaysia. Now, one article, from this example, you will already see one article could fall under different categories. They could fall under different groups. The first group is methodology. The second group is what theory they use. The third group is which year of publication. Number 4 is data collection site. Number 5, there could be wonders. There could be many other grouping strategies. For example, it could be which country publishes that. The journal belongs to which country. Yeah? Or it could also be primary data in a sense like this. Yeah? Example, shared characteristic. And a researcher conducts 3 case studies. Case study 1 is at school 1. Case study 2 is at school 2. Case study 3 is at school 3. And each of these schools, the participants were sampled. Okay, they were chosen based on their occupational roles of principal, teacher, student, and parent. Similarly, in case 2, principal, teacher, student, and parent. Likewise, in case 3, principal, teacher, student, and parent. Now, can you tell me how many participants that we have interviewed for this particular research? 1, 2, 3, 3 cases times 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 participants. 3 times 4 is 12 participants. We have met 12 participants. We can do shared characteristic of case A. Yeah, everybody comes from school A, for example. Everybody comes from school B. Everybody comes from school C. Why do we group them together? Because we want to do within case analysis of case 1, within case analysis of case 2, within case analysis of case 3, for example. Now, the same participants in case 1, 2, and 3, we can also do cross-case analysis. Okay, principal will be one group, teacher will be one group, student, likewise parent, as well. So, initially we have 3 groups. Now we have additional 4 groups. In total, we have 7 groups. Okay, to answer my first question just now, can one person fall into 2 groups? Yes, definitely, because that one person could have multiple characteristics, but that characteristic is shared with one another, with another person. So there could be many shared characteristics for one particular person or one particular document that we are handling. Yeah. How to do just that? We are going to just come back very quickly, group into groups. What is it? Shared characteristic. Why? So that we can do within and cross-case analysis. Number 3 is how. Okay, we can do that from the document manager in Atlas.ti. Okay, in Mac, you can do that by opening your document manager. A lot of ways that you can open the document manager. I'll just show you, and then I'm going to tell you which one that I like the most. Okay, first you're going to go to document, show document manager. Okay, that is to open. Okay, for the avoidance of doubt, this is demonstration for the Windows Mac, Atlas.ti Mac. Document, show document manager. You're going to get something like this. Okay. Or you can also go to the document manager button over here, okay, where you can just click on the document manager button and then you will get the document manager. Or the third one, which is my favorite, okay, is already on the Explorer over here. If I want to open the manager, I'll just double click on the document name over here and it will open the document manager. Why? Because everything is in the Explorer already. It is the Explorer. I can just double click the code manager and it will open the code manager for me. Double click the word memos, it will open the memo manager for me. Everything is in the Explorer bar. Likewise, for Windows as well, I can do that. Okay, I can just simply double click on the word document here in order to open my document manager. It's like this. Okay, this is the document manager. Code manager, for example. Of course, no codes here, but it's fine. Okay, I can just give you an example. Now, when we open the document manager, now this is the following instruction applies equally to both Windows and Mac. Document manager, you can see on the left hand side here, we have the document group. Okay, the document group. Now, this is where the groupings will appear. Okay, but you can also right click in order to, no, you cannot do that. You can create group. Oh, you can't do that. Okay. I will normally do this. Select the documents that I want. Okay. For example, I want document number 1 and 3. They are actually data from my fieldwork. Okay. Or maybe I can document 1 and 2. Data from my fieldwork because I went to my interviews, do a site visit, and I got this information. I want to group them as data from fieldwork. Okay. Select the documents that I want, drag them to the left hand side. Drag to the left hand side over here. Okay. Simply drop and the system will ask me if I want to create a new group. If yes, then I can just type in the name. I demonstrate that again. Okay. Opening the document manager is by double clicking on the document over here. And I will see on my left hand side is the document group panel. I can just select the documents that I want and I'm going to drag and drop onto the empty area here. Okay. Now, the system will ask me what is the name that I want to give to this new group. Okay. The name is data from fieldwork. Okay. For example, click on create. It's like that. Very simple. Okay. Very simple in the sense that I can get the grouping over here, data from fieldwork in bracket 2. It means the size of that document is 2. Simply click on it and it will only filter the documents within that group. If I want to talk about, if I want to take a look at the other documents again, I can simply click on the empty area here and it will bring out my documents. Is everybody still following? I think there is background sound here. You know why? Because it is raining at my house. Raining in Kedah at the moment. Dr. Guzman is asking if we can actually import from YouTube. Okay, import from, you need to convert that video into a native MP4 file first. You can download the video from YouTube and from YouTube save it as MP4 to be added to Atlas.ti project. Okay, there is no magic button to import, but it will be as a native file, yes. You can save it as a video. If it's very long, I suggest that you can break it down into smaller videos. Under Documents part in the Explorer view, can I ask Atlas.ti to rearrange the list of documents or regroup it? Okay. Under Documents part in the Explorer view, can I ask Atlas.ti? Okay, Fazli is asking, rearrange the list of documents. If you're not happy with your list of documents, here I'm not happy that cycling is number 1. I want sports well-being to be number 1. If, for example, last time, you can just do it, okay. In order to rearrange it, I will need to rename my document. If, for example, I want to put number 1, because I want it to be in location number 1. It is also here I want to rename it as document number 2 and cycling to be number 3. For example, rename number 3. Okay. Here I can sort it based on name, regardless any, because otherwise I will arrange it alphabetical. Okay. Now, I want to rearrange my document by going to Windows. You're going to go to Tools, Renumber Document. Okay, Tools, Renumber Document. Still in Document Manager. Tools, Renumber Documents. Starting with number 1. Okay, so it will arrange accordingly. Sharmila is asking how to group document in Mac. It's very similar. Okay? You can just select the documents that you want, okay? Because the instruction is similar, meaning you can select the documents that you want. Okay? Click on one command, click on another one, drag and drop onto the empty area, and the system will ask you, I'm going to put the same name, data from viewer. Very similar method. Grouping the document. Okay? Grouping first. If you want to click on the document name, it will filter the documents within that group. If you click on the empty area again, then it will reveal all the documents to us. Okay, very good question, Shamila. Alright, how we can do that from Document Manager? Okay. The last part that I want to cover today is we want to import document. Okay? Importing documents, various types of data. But unfortunately, my Twitter account is having a problem. Can you please test on your own computer if you can add Twitter data? Okay? Twitter data by going to here. It says Twitter, Evernote, survey as well as references. Twitter, Evernote, survey as well as references. Okay. Number 1, Twitter. Okay. In Windows, how to do that is by going to the Import Export tab. In the Import Export tab, there are many options. Okay, but here we're talking about import. You can import Twitter, Evernote, Reference Manager, and Survey. Codebook and document book can only be exported and imported from another project. Okay, so once we have done the grouping, then we can do that like this. Okay, here, Twitter, Evernote, Reference Manager, and Survey. What I'm going to do, okay, is we're going to begin with Twitter first, but my Twitter has a problem. See, unable to connect to Twitter. Can you click on yours and see if it's able to connect? If you have a Twitter account, okay? You can only do this if you have a Twitter account. Likewise, I can test that on my MacBook, if I can do that. Document, import from Twitter. Please authenticate. Sharing for a while. Very interesting if you can do this. Okay. If you can test that on your own computer, it should be very interesting. Okay. Oh, I forgot. In our Telegram group, I have also added the manual as well as a quick tour, the link, so that you can download and take a look at it. Okay. Okay, this should be interesting. Oops, I should be sharing my screen. Okay, if you are into Twitter analysis, then it should be interesting so that you can practice. My Windows Atlas.ti is having a problem connecting. If you can, it should be interesting if you can practice too. But for my Mac, I can connect it to Twitter. For example, I can put my area is computer crime. Okay, for example, I can put hashtag computer crime, okay, for example, and I can choose how do I want it to be edit. Cancel first because I need to save my project. Okay, then I'm gonna import from Twitter. Here is my subject area. Okay. I can create codings from hashtags, locations, from hashtags. Maybe I can do on authors as well. Okay. Authors who mentioned this or authors will be many. Okay. Just to show you. Okay. You can import the tweets. Okay. What I want to do is I want FSCI to retrieve for me 100 maximum Twitter tweets, yeah, so that it can not only import, it can import as well as it can create codings from my authors or hashtags as well. Okay, or import it. Oh, did not use any tweets. Or maybe you can practice again computer crime. Let me just Corona, very famous nowadays. I hope there is so that we can show you. Okay. Oh, there is. Very interesting. You can even do here is the Twitter import for Corona, 100 Twitter imports, okay, that I only ask from the tweets, okay, no retweets. Everybody tweets anything with Corona, yeah, it will come out here together with the images so that I can practice it. Now, if you might also already be aware, Twitter is a very fast-moving social media application that it can cover so many things inside. Very, it can cover, how shall I say, recent discussion about a certain subject matter. What people are tweeting. When I put computer crime just now, it doesn't come up because it's not a common thing, it's not a very famous hashtag. Okay? As opposed to Corona, for example, a lot of things. It's already coded for us. Okay? So what we do is we can just further put it. What is it that people are talking about this? Any one of you managed to do this? I just did. Okay. Any? Okay. It's not compulsory, okay, for you to do, but if you can do it, it's very interesting. Okay, let's practice that. Now, only three things remaining. I think I have exceeded my time. Thank you for bearing with me. Evernote. Okay. Maybe Evernote I will not demonstrate. Okay, because I forgot to tell you up front, but you can practice that. Evernote is one of the leading note-taking applications in the world. Okay, it's one of the top 5 note-taking applications, which is very famous. You can have an online account for Evernote, install it on your app, or just simply go to your online account on your desktop or browser. Okay, any information that you put into your Evernote, it will synchronize with the other devices as well. Okay, which is very interesting. Okay? So if you are on the road, you want to take notes on Evernote, okay, and then you want to analyze this in Atlas.ti, you can simply get that from Evernote to Atlas.ti. And how to do that is here. Okay. We can practice more. I cannot seem to find it in MacBook now, but in Windows it's the same. Okay, Twitter, yeah, my Windows Twitter cannot work, but I think Evernote can work. Okay, for example, on Evernote, I think I need to link it again to my Evernote account. Yeah, authorization access. So if you can sign up for a free Evernote account, okay? Free Evernote account, and uh, try to add documents in Evernote for the purpose of that. Now, the final two things I want to share is importing survey. Okay? Now, importing survey, I think I have put something over here. Survey data, okay, and reference manager import. Let's begin with reference manager import first. Okay? If you do have Mendeley or EndNote on your desktop, okay, okay, it seems Ustaz Ahmad Safi did hashtag for assessment for learning. I hope you get what you wanted, okay, so that we can practice that for our Twitter import analysis in Atlas.ti. Okay, very interesting. Let's do that. If we are, what should I say, have Mendeley or EndNote? Okay? Very famous question that I get last time is, if I'm already using Mendeley or EndNote, okay, can I use, do I need to use Atlas.ti? Of course, the answer is not compulsory. Atlas.ti is never compulsory to be used, but people use it because of the simplicity of the interface that you can do literature review, okay, for that purpose. So, therefore, if we go for in Mendeley, okay, we can actually build a list of library. Yeah, we can build a library containing a lot of references inside together with the full text, so that this document you can put it into Atlas.ti, okay, for the purpose of reviewing that particular article. Now, why do we want to do that? Why not we just go to the native PDF file, okay, because you will realize that I have differentiated it, okay, native PDF file with the references. Why not? I just simply go to the PDF file from Mendeley and put it into Atlas.ti. Yeah. Now, the answer is this. If you have references in Mendeley or EndNote for that matter, and you want to add it into Atlas.ti from Mendeley or EndNote, then Atlas.ti will support the feature of automatically grouping our documents based on the meta information contained in the Mendeley or EndNote application. So I'm just going to focus on Mendeley tonight. Okay? If you're working on EndNote, okay, it's very similar. Meaning you need to export that. So when we in Mendeley or EndNote, you will select the references, import into XML. Okay? Now, XML is I cannot see it. Cannot see the person making the sound. The name doesn't appear in the list. Okay. All right. In Reference Manager, we will select the references and import into XML. XML is a file interchange format between one application to another. So if you have references you want to take from Mendeley into Atlas.ti, so we will use the XML function. Okay? Now, XML is one item, but it can be of many sizes. Okay? It can be of many sizes. For example, you select 10 documents, 100 documents, 700 documents from Mendeley, put into Atlas.ti, and it will be automatically grouped into based on year, based on author, based on the options that we're going to take a look. Okay, now save it into XML, then you move to Atlas.ti into it in order to import that. Now I'm going to demonstrate how to create the output from how to export that. Okay. In Mendeley, we want to save the references into Excel. So in order to do that, we will open Mendeley desktop. Please see if you have Mendeley desktop. This is a new feature in Atlas.ti 8. When people are using Atlas.ti 7, and I was teaching Atlas.ti 7 last time, this feature is not yet available. Okay, so users of Atlas.ti 7 will need to go to the native PDF file. once added to the ATCM project, you will need to manually group the article. How to manually? Drag and drop lah. Select and then drag and drop. Okay, for that purpose. Now I'm going to go to sport. Yes. Now select the documents that I want. You see, I have from various years and various journal names. Now I'm going to go select 4 documents, 2 from Springer Plus with different years, and 2 from BMC Public Health from different years. Okay? You know why I do that? It is because I want to demonstrate 2 from Springer Plus will be grouped together, 2 from BMC Public Health will be grouped together. Yeah? 2 from 2015 will be grouped together, 2 from 2016 will be grouped together. Yeah? Now, why do I select these documents? Based on that, and definitely I will choose the documents that have PDF file full text over here. Okay? I select them. I'm going to go to File, Export. Yeah, because the instruction was select the documents and then export. Yeah, so now I have already selected in my Mendeley desktop. I'm going to export it as XML. Okay, you remember the format? XML here. Okay, my collection.xml. I'm going to put it on my desktop. Okay, save. Let's see how it looks like in XML file. Here it is. My collection.xml. Just going to put it at the current projects. Okay, current projects. My XML. Okay, this is the XML file. If you want to practice this, it is going to be very interesting as well. Yeah, but I know because of the time, yeah, can we work on the same project interchangeably between Mac and Windows? Yes, can. Okay, yes, can. But you would need to backup, create a backup, bundle each time. Okay, you need to bundle the date. Okay, so that you can import it into ATCM Mac. But if at the same time, you cannot do that lah. Okay? You would need to backup it into your desktop so that this backup file you can open in MacBook. Because it's the same backup file format. Okay? Right. Now, I'm going to go very quickly because of the time. That XML file in Mendeley, you can also create the same. Yeah? So I'm going to demonstrate here how to add this XML file to ATCM Windows, and then I'm going to do that for ATCM Mac as well. Okay. Still, under the Import Export tab, I'm going to click on Reference Manager. Okay, you will see now the current situation is I have 3 documents, which is under. I have 3 documents, okay, under one group. Okay. Now I'm gonna go to. I need to bring this up. Okay. First, of course, I'm gonna, because the instruction was in ATCI, you just import that XML file into ATCI. Okay, very easy. Select the XML file that I want. It is on my desktop. It's called mycollection.xml. I have it. Okay, Alhamdulillah. Open. Yeah. Until it says here my collection.xml. Now, how do I want the groupings to be? Because these are all the meta. This. Yeah, everybody still okay? Can you see my screen? Okay, Alhamdulillah. Yeah. Here, the meta information is here are all the meta information from Mendeley that ATCI can use as grouping. Okay, so very often I do not go for co-authors, language, first author, type, source, but I will go for 2 major things. The first one is year, because I want to know the year in which this paper is published. I want them to group based on that. 2019, all the 2019 documents will be here. 2020, all the 2030 documents will be here. Okay, for example. Second one, I will also choose periodical. Periodical means the journal name. The journal name. So if it's Malayan Law Journal, Springer Plus, all articles from Malayan Law Journal will be there. or articles from Supreme Plus will be there, for example. Now, these are the meta information, and here, how do I want to name my document? If you have been following me for some time on my social media, Facebook as well as Instagram, I always advocate how we save our document is by saving it in the format of author year. Author year. Okay? It means Ani Munirah, 2010. Or surname is Muhammad, 2010. Okay, for example. Ahmad, 2020. So why? Because it will be very helpful, okay, for the purpose of our citation later on, so that we will know who is the author for this particular paper. Okay, I'm gonna choose, okay, here I'm gonna include first of the name, and then I'm gonna include the publishing year. Atlas.ti will automatically detect the meta information from the XML file just now, the author and the year, and here is the option. If the full document is not available, Atlas.ti can now, if there is a PDF document, it will be added to the Atlas.ti project. If there's no PDF document, it will add the abstract as a document. If there's no PDF, there is also no abstract, Atlas.ti will tell us it cannot edit that document. Okay? Now, having done that, the two options that I choose, periodical and year, and then I'm going to change the name and year. Okay, so it's going to show author year dash title, and then check mark import abstract on import. You see, 3 documents originally. It will add on my 4 documents. Likewise, the groupings as well in a short while. Okay, I'm taking a lot of time for this tonight's session. I hope you're okay. Okay. Right. This is very, very interesting in the sense that Georgian, Langfors, McGee, and Trigwell, yeah, they have been added from the XML file. Now, another thing is it also adds on other groupings as well. Previously, I only have one, data from fieldwork. Now, I have periodical BMC Public Health, 2 documents, in McGee and Trigwell. From Springer Plus 2 documents, Georgian and Langfors, reference manager import, reference manager last import, reference manager library, which is coming from my collection, and then those published in year 2015, Langfors and Trigwell, in year 2016, Georgian and McGee. Yeah? So now you will see my documents have been added automatically from the XML file, plus the groupings as well. Now, very quickly, I'm going to show you how to do that in Atlas.ti Mac. While I'm showing for Atlas.ti Mac, Windows users might want to practice that on your own computer. Okay? Now, my MacBook friends, I have 4 documents, yeah, because I did the Twitter import just now. If you can do your Twitter import, it will be very interesting as well. Yeah? Now, I'm going to go to projects. I'm going to go to document import reference manager data. Let's import reference manager data. Here, it captures my last setting, which is I want the periodical and the year to be here. Periodical and the year, and then how I name my document, and then import abstract as document. Then only if in Windows we choose the file first, in Mac we choose the file last. And then here I'm going to share how to choose the file. Choose file. Go to my desktop. It says here my collection.xml. My collection.xml. Import it. I will add 4 new documents in a short while. Here they are. Yeah. Georgian, Langfors, Trigwell, and McGee. So when I click on BMC Public Health, 2 documents, Trigwell as well as McGee. I click on Springer Plus, Georgian, and Langfors, Trigwell, and McGee. Springer Plus. Likewise, 2015 Langfors and Trigwell, 2016 Georgian as well as McGee. Okay. Now it's very interesting to see that you can actually take a look at the PDF documents that has been added to the project. Okay, and this saves a lot of time. Okay, you do not have to manually drag the document from the document manager system. Where is it? You do not have to manually drag here and drop here. Okay, why? Because from the XML file, Atlas.ti will intelligently add the documents to the specific document groups. Okay? Of course, using the trial version, a reminder you can please go to Project Save. Project Save. Okay, likewise in Windows, you will go to the Save icon over here. Right. I'm going to take questions. Okay. Inilah. Yes, Dr. Guzman, this is a new feature in Atlas.ti 8. And I believe it will be enhanced more when Atlas.ti 9 is launched next month. Okay? Right. Okay, Alhamdulillah. See, I have demonstrated four documents. Lawyers don't know how to count well. Four documents. And these four documents will be added to the Atlas.ti project. Imagine your Mendeley library, you have 100 documents. You don't need to manually drag them one by one. If you have, like me, I have hundreds of documents in my EndNote actually. I use EndNote extensively. Very similar strategies. Export as XML. Okay, from XML we will put it into Atlas.ti project. Okay, I just request a little bit of your time to talk about survey data, which is our last thing for tonight. Okay, the survey data. Here it is. Okay. Here it is. Okay, we have already covered all these, and then we're going to come to survey. Izati is asking a question. Is it every time we say the file, we save it in project bundle as well? Means it's not synced directly to project bundle. Yes, exactly. It does not sync directly to the project bundle when we save. Okay. So the idea is the moment you do a significant change in your project, it is recommended to do a backup. Okay. Likewise, when you're writing a thesis, but thesis you can save it directly on Dropbox, right? You're doing any projects likewise similar to Atlas.ti, okay? That project will need to backup. Okay? You create backup as a bundle. It doesn't take too long. I think it's a few seconds only to create a bundle, but make sure that location you save the bundle, it is a specific folder for backups, okay? So that you can be rest assured it will be synced to the cloud. Okay? For example, I recommend the cloud. Some of you might want it to be in a pen drive on external disk. Okay? For example, how frequent do you want to create the backups? Depends. Okay? Depends on if you did a substantial amount of change, then you might want to do that. Okay? Alright, last one is survey. Okay, now survey, I doubt I still have an example survey over here. Do I have a survey that I can practice on? XLS. Okay, no problem. I'll just go very quickly just to show you. Okay, survey data import. Okay, this is the last one before we leave for tonight. Close to 2 hours. I'm so sorry. Okay? Because I've become so excited to tell you so many things about Atlas.ti. Okay? Now, survey data import. First thing first, okay, what do we mean by survey data? Survey data is open-ended section of that survey that we want to qualitatively analyze it. If it is quantitative, then Atlas.ti will not be a suitable option for you to analyze quantitative data. But if it is open-ended questions, okay, then it will be suitable. That open-ended section, we can put it into Atlas.ti for the purpose of analysis. But of course, there are strategies that can help us to make our life easy, okay? Especially the grouping of that participants, that respondent. We can have 10 respondents, and those 10 respondents mention to us various questions. So I'm going to go very quickly to show you one example of a survey recently conducted. Okay? The steps are prepare the survey data in Excel format. You see, it has to be in Excel format. And then before adding that Excel file to Atlas.ti, we will add prefixes first. prefixes, okay, these are the example prefixes. We can have exclamation mark. Maybe I can go exclamation mark. We can do up sign, and smaller than is a dot, a colon, a hashtag, nothing, double colon. Okay, but you don't have to worry about that because it's in the slide as well in the manual. Okay, if you want to read it more. Okay, now prefixes serve as instructions to Atlas.ti. How do I want Atlas.ti to treat this particular survey format? Okay, now by saying that, I'm going to go to preparing the survey data in Excel format. Where is it? Okay, I'm going to go very quickly now. It is in forms. Please bear with me. I think around 5 minutes I will show this. I'm going to go to my other account. Okay, here. This is a survey recently conducted for my own other project. Okay, not actually a project, is a webinar conducted for my particular school. Okay, this is the question. We just ask their nickname, their gender, the status. Okay, now you see the first 3 questions is demographic information. This is how I recognize this person. Okay, and gender and status is actually how shall I say, the demographic information. But there are 2 questions that I asked, open-ended. What do you know about computer hacking? Okay, hacking, and they will answer the question here. What do you think perpetrators? Why do you think perpetrators commit the crime? Okay, so from there I can get 19 responses. For example, these are the responses, and this is the part that I want to analyze qualitatively. This is just an example when I did the. So I can now download the answer, download responses. It needs to be in Excel format. Okay, but before that, of course, it will be downloaded as CSV. But I can, oops. Okay, here, you double click it. Okay, this is the answer. Timestamp, I'm gonna delete that section. Okay. Here I have nickname, gender, status, and then 2 open-ended questions. And these 2 open-ended questions, I'm going to go like this. That's just to show you the answers given by very impromptu. I asked that question last time. Okay. So 19 people from diverse backgrounds. Some of them are male, some are female, some are academic. Only 1 person who is a student. Okay. Now, and they answered 2 questions. You remember about the prefixes here? Okay, prefixes, you can go after this to go and see what does that mean. Okay? But I am going to demonstrate here nickname. I'm going to put a exclamation mark. Why? Because exclamation mark will give instruction to Atlas.ti to treat this column, the column over here, to become the author of the document. Okay? To the
Kenapa nak gimana?
document's name. You will become the document's name. Number 2 is gender and status. Gender and status, I want Atlas.ti to create specific groups. All females together, all males will be together. So I'm going to put a colon, titik bertindih, colon. So if Atlas.ti reads this document, it will know, this researcher, me, wants it to be gender female. Okay,
Sorry,
gender
sekejap Zik.
female and
Kenapa
gender.
sekejap?
Likewise here, status.
Ya. Sekejap je.
Status only. And finally, nothing here. Okay? Nothing here. What do you know about computer hacking? What do you think of it?
Ya.
So here the question is, I want to talk about
Sekejap.
okay? And finally here is factor. Why did it? So you see, I put a double colon here because according to the slides, double colon all text and after the colon. is added to the entities comment field, meaning the code name will be the ones that I have added just now. Now I have created this, okay, for the purpose of me adding it to the project. I'm going to save it. No? Okay, so I'm going to convert it. And so file, save as. Remember the format that I asked, it should be Excel. I'm going to go to Excel here. XLS. Okay, good. I'm going to put it on my desktop and save. Now, I can sit back, okay, because when I added the nicknames, okay, I added the prefixes just now, it has become instructions that I want to give to XTI. So I'm going to come to XTI Windows, okay, first, which is I will import export survey. Import export survey.
Kejap.
It's this on my desktop. Here. Desktop. I want to add those 19 responses to FTCI. Click on open. Let's say I'm converting the survey file and it will now add on to the project. Import survey. Yay! Okay, what happened was here, starting from Ahmad, D14 until D24, okay, it has become, why? It is arranged like this. I have to arrange it based on numbers here. Okay, starting with Ali, okay, Ali, until Hanis, these are all the survey data. Okay, now I can do a profiling of, I want those female only. You know where this comes from? This comes from the Excel file. Gender male 3. So 3 male have responded to my survey, 16 females. I can also see their academic status, 18, and their names, the parts that I have given the exclamation mark just now, it becomes the document name. Okay? Very interesting. So when I click on Ali here, it answered 2 questions. Okay? It answered my 2 questions. It is a type of cybercrime to get illegal benefits. The best part is it is already coded accordingly. Coding will be covered in our 3rd module, but it is coded accordingly for the purpose of our highlighting here. Okay, just to show you, it is the parts. Let me just click on some other people, maybe Asfal here. Here it is. This is it. Okay, and Khadija, this is. I can continue to highlight after this for the purpose of coding and further analysis. Okay, we'll practice that. I'll be also sharing this. Oh, I should do that for FCM Mac as well. Okay, in FCM Mac, in order to import survey, I will just go to project, import survey. Okay, I'm going to use the same file, okay, for the purpose of consistency. Before that, I will open the document manager, okay, so that we will be able to see it over here. Project, import survey. On my desktop, I have that XML file here. I'm going to import. Yeah, give it some time. This is now adding my 19 respondent survey data. Okay. Yeah, it has been added. See? I'm so excited to do this. Apart from, based on this knowledge, after I carried out online survey from Google Docs or online drive, I will OneDrive. Sorry, I will actually download it as Excel, give instructions by prefixes, put it into FTCF for the purpose of further analysis. Very, very smooth flow that we can do. So I can do that again. It's very similar to what you can see. So when I click on document manager here, I just want to show you. Now I can see one student, Sarananya. I can see also the academics who answered. Yeah, female, yeah, for example. Okay, all right. So I think we have covered basically everything that we want for the purpose of that. Okay, right. So if you have any questions, I will address them very quickly now. Okay, okay. Alhamdulillah. If you do have any questions, let me go here. Uh, for the questions, you can ask in our Telegram group.